Okay, just a small update in between working hours. On night shift at the moment. This is the suspension pickup points. Looks more like a ugly bat at this particular point, but the end up it turns out and finished off like so. Eventually with a bit of trimming, it'll sit pretty much here. Oops. Sit pretty much there. Obviously it's designed for the 1.5 inch. I've got to trim it to miss the notches of the tube here. It's reasonably horizontal, it's not up or down, and the chassis was lifted 1 inch so there's more room, pretty much making that a direct path into the chassis. It's not lifted up or whatever else, so you don't have to tie it in or brook it. It's pretty much direct in, so the force is going to go horizontally into the chassis itself. That's like that. So the evolution of how we get that from our little bat wing, obviously I've had quite a few cuts, any spares. That's the other part I'll show you in a second. Start off with the bat wing, piece of steel, mill down to the correct width for the obviously the internal dimension of here. Bolt that onto there, like so. Clamp plate. Do the usual. Start off with a dead blow mallet. Break down both sides. Once you've pretty much broken the back and get it all the way, most of the way there, then at this stage probably something similar to that, like so. Once you're at that stage, then back to the fly press, just to give it that tweak. So you keep these two plates tight to that dimension, which in this case is 44 millimeters, which is the width of the rubberized joint. Actually it's about 15 to 20 thou bigger than the rubberized joint, which gives me a little bit of room for clamp, a little bit of room for having the chassis powder coated. And there's plenty of room for this to crush 1/2 mil as you tighten it up. Once you've got this shape, as you can see here, if we're looking at that, the tab at the back here and the tab at the front here are literally only put on so that it can allow me to clamp this in position so that it doesn't move while I'm doing the operations. So you start off with this, you get to this stage, then you turn it over, you cut off the front tab on here, back onto this side, yet again bolting it up here. You can put a clamp on there if you want, but no problem. And then I've machined this radius here at 22 mil, the same radius as this one here, and then basically just hammer this down to suit that kind of radius, and then eventually we'll just we'll fill in here with weld to join it back up. So then you get, that's the last stage. Obviously you just cut it off. So there's your 4 stages. Flat pattern. First off bend the sides, second off cut the front off, third off bend it and remove said tab to get your nice form here. It's 3 mil plate. I did previously do it in 2 mil, but to be honest I've just had everything cut in 3 mil now. Just adds a bit of strength. I don't think it really probably needs it, but what the hell, you never know. So then now I've got a nice radius thing here that's got the correct offset between the centre of the tube and the centre of the bolt. So pretty much all I need to do when it's on there is set. I'll put a bar through 2 of them, like I do everything else. Put a long tube bar, through the 2 holes, and when I set it up on there, I'll just set that bar horizontally and at the right height, and then tic tac, and away you go. That's the suspension pockets. Obviously for the back tube here, this tube comes off at an angle, so this cut area here will be perfect for here. But the back side on the back one here, could have done one differently, but decided it would just be easier and probably a little bit cheaper in some respects just to have 4 of these made the same as the front. So all I've got to do is just basically I'll keep grinding and trimming the back of that until it sits nicely and square. Obviously at the moment it's sitting at a canted about 15 degrees. So So a little bit of grinding to do on the back ones, but nothing too out of the ordinary. It doesn't take me probably, I don't know, half an hour and I'll have them both done. Nice and snug. Right, second brackets I had made were for the, obviously my shock was always going to mount from this bottom bar here, and they'll come up at an angle and come through the rocker. Now obviously the rocker's going to have a pivot. The pivot's going to be here. So pretty much on the inside of this tube, we're going to be mounting the rocker arm points. This is made large so I can trim it. Yet again, the flat pattern, I can bend this either this way or that way, so the one pattern does for both the front and the rear joint for that. In this particular one I bent that way, so that'll go that way. I'll just cut this back to the exact length and weld it all the way along here. I won't trim it back. But on this side, same one here will be kind of out the back here. I'm not going to join here to there, so what I'll do is I'll just trim a nice pattern around here and radius and curve it up, so chop off some of the material we just don't need. If you look at here, I've actually put quite a bit of material. I could have come up here to the joint and just made it off nice and round, but I put a bit of extra material there. This edge here and this edge here are horizontal and vertical when in the correct position, so it's nice and easy to set this up. Don't have to worry about the height so much. I just basically have to square this edge up as horizontal, and I know I'm in the right position. And obviously the correct offset from the bulkhead forward and trim there. And for the back joint for this one here, because it's kind of going to be, it's not there, so it's got extra, it's kind of going to be like here somewhere. What I'll do is I'll put a web between here and there, just basically to square that all off so it's all joined in and squared into here. It'll gusset this, give a small advantage, but mainly just to make a nice solid point there, because obviously we've still got spring load coming up to here, and we've got the push rod load there, so there's kind of a lifting moment going on here. A little bit of a twist, but not as much because it's quite close to here, and it's not really stuck out, so it's just nice to try and get nice to gusset it all in. And like I say, it's just nice to have some parts that have the radius already cut. Boom, there. Just a simple sketch line bend over, just with a normal bender, and get those in. So we're pretty close there. Front joints are in. I can't remember whether I put them in or not on the last video. Oh, whatever. Front joints are in, tacked up. TIG welded the ends over, so I didn't have to gap and fill a rod. Just kept them nice and snug and tigged them. That's the rod joint there. These are my two threaded, basically they're the nuts for the bolts. Threaded point here, but they've also got the 19mm relief put on the inside. Basically my 3/4 CDS tube will just go between the two of those as a spacer and becomes basically the crush point. Obviously this joint here is encapsulated both sides, this joint is only on the one, so basically we have a joint to go to the two, so it makes that feel like it's in double shear. So it's just a quickie. Next 4 days off, I should have, with any luck, all of the rocker points and the top suspension points in, and then I can concentrate on getting the wishbones done. Got to machine that spacer yet, because that's got to be at an angle to 50-50 the amount of deflection taken by a caster angle. Obviously having a caster angle back here, you want that joint to go with it, otherwise you might bind. It doesn't, but it's just nicer to have it in 50-50, so you're going even amount both sides. On that, got to order my steering rack bits and pieces now. I've got the normal joint here, which is 3/4, 26 spline or whatever. This goes to a D joint. Basically, it's a shaft with two flats on. That's what the back of the power steering unit is. It's a 3/4 double D, and it's quite easy to get some double D shaft design for it. Add two joints, and then put a running joint in here. So I'm going to try and order that in the next day or so, and then have that for hopefully the next update or so, so I can mount the 1 point here needed. I've altered the caster camber angle since the last time I did the bump steer corrections in CAD, so basically I'm going to have to go back into that and make sure I get the rack height and distance forward and back as near as damn it close as I can before actually any minor tiny differences between the chassis and the CAD itself. There's a millimetre or so here and there, so I should virtually dial the bump steer out before I start, but there may be a little bit of 10 or 20 thou shimming just to get the bump steer down to as near a damn it as 0 as I can. There we go. Anyway, 10 minutes, bloody hell, I've been nattering already. Okay, there you go. Speak to you soon.